Welcome back to the ERL INDYCAR series on BDS Formula 1 Motorsports and on UK Sport if you're watching the highlights package. And we're watching the field come out onto the track here in Sao Paulo, race number 4 in INDYCAR after the first 3 races, which have all been certified club bangers. And today we've got another one lined up for you as we take a look at the grid lineup. Back 2 rows, you've got TJ Davis in 21st and Dave Camino in 22nd and last in qualifying. In front of them, you've got Nevin Colby, championship leader on the hard tyres, down in 19th with Tommy for company. In front of those two, you've got Ewa Puff, notoriously brilliant qualifier, only managed 17th in clearing Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Francis Austin right behind. Then Sebastian Messian in 16th, also on the hard tyres, with Enoch Hugh right in front. Max Bortcar starts 14th. In front of him is Ghosted. Then it's Hexel Mark, Salos Kynes, and then Lewis Olsen starting the top 10 off in style for Hyperdrive Racing. Mikian Gurovic finally out-qualifies his teammate in the Dragon Penske camp. Then in front of him is the Newman Haas driver of Lil Buns. Saf Sound, the highest driver to qualify and start on the hard tyres. In front of him is O'Queen Milsos Maker, Linus Eriksson, Carson Thornburg, teammate Elliot Deli, and for the first time in his career, the Japanese driver Kwon Todoroki will start this race from the front of the pack. And he's going to start it very soon in that number 33 because this pace car is pulling into the pits. And we will get ourselves underway very quickly. It will be Kwon Todoroki for the first time in his career leading us to green. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys! Down into the opening turn. There's a little bit of a rise because the opener is in fact banked, but then you get thrown out, spit out back onto the track at unbelievably high speeds, 300 kilometers per hour. We're already in excess of that heading into turn number 4. In fact, pretty sure some drivers are pulling 340 before they brake. Let's take a look on board with Tommy as he makes his way up into 21st position again, fighting with TJ Davis. Nevin Colby still in 19th position. Out in front, Kwon Todoroki holding on to that gap. Hexel Mark up into 11th position. Max Bortcar, we got on board with the Andretti driver. It's a lot easier to make moves if you're lower down in the order because that means that you actually get more of a run-up into the opening turn. As you can see, Salos Kynes weaving like a madman to get some heat into those soft tyres. Of course, that's why we do the preparation lap to get some heat into the tyres. In fact, further up, you've got some drivers so much in their tyres on board with Gurovic. So he sends it down the inside of turn 1. TJ Davis, fastest lap at 58.850. It's a palindromic fastest lap, in fact. Kwon Todoroki with the fastest first sector of anybody, 15.7. Saf Sam in 8th. Looking back with him, you can see Olsen and Lil Buns fighting over 9th position. In fact, the Haas driver dropped quite a lot of time. Hexel Mark looking for a way to go down the inside, might actually find his way past in due course, but not quite yet. Linus Eriksson with the fastest second sector of anyone at 26.383. That's 5 whole tenths of a second, a whole half second quicker than what everyone else has been able to manage. Eriksson up in 3rd right now, setting a new fastest lap, 58.066. Deli will get pushed to pass on this lap. Can he take the lead away from the Japanese driver in the 33? Looking back with Kwon Todoroki, you can see Elliot Deli closing in, but not quite close enough to make the move. He's 0.3 of a second behind as they come through the second sector. Deli pulls to the inside then. Can he find his way past? Not quite yet. It's a very easy track to make overtakes if you ask me. It's very easy to stay behind another car. It's much harder to crash out of this race. We've raced at this very circuit in the ERL Formula E series. We won't be racing on it this season, I don't think. But the one thing you need to know about this track in Formula E is that you are much more likely to be a lap down than you are to not finish around here. That's the main thing of note. If anything is known, it's that you are certainly going to finish. Prix with a new fastest third sector, 14.716. He is in 6th position. As you can see, one of the drivers trying to pull to the inside. I think that's Milsos Micah trying to get past Carsten Thornburg, who's had an absolutely woeful start to his race. His teammate not able to make any inroads on Quan, as you can see further ahead. But Milsos still looking for a way to try and get past. Does he try and switch to the inside? He does! Lunging down the inside goes the Polish driver in the 11, not quite able to make the move quite yet. Tommy at the back of the pack, struggling with his medium tyres as he got a puncture or any sort of tyre failure like that, as Milsos up into 4th position. And yes, front puncture for Tommy in the Revolution Racing number 45. Niven Colby, championship leader by 5 points, has dropped down to 21st position. For Mikion Gurovic, Dragon Penske, he is in a magnificent position to lead the championship. Elliot Deli on lap 6 of 17, even with those soft tyres beginning to grain, he's got pushed to pass. He's closing in on Quan Todoroki, slips to the slipstream into turn number 4, sends it down the inside. Will that be the race lead? He's lunging ahead. By the time they make it into turn number 6, Quan Todoroki has conceded the race lead to Elliot Deli. The other Chip Ganassi driver leads after his teammate won last time out. Now Linus Eriksson lining up a move to try and get himself up into 2nd and possibly even the race lead. Tommy, however, has come into the pits at the end of his 5th lap. He's going to be a lap down, surely, by the time these guys complete lap 7. That's certainly not ideal. In comes Linus Eriksson, first man to stop for anything outside of a tyre-related issue. Mikion Gurovic, man second in the championship by 5 points, comes in. TJ Davis also into the pits. They've basically consigned themselves to the 2-stop strategy, as here comes Quan Todoroki, back again, back for more, and back into the lead. The Japanese driver acting like a real samurai against Elliot Deli, but still, Deli knows how to fight back. It's the cowboy versus the samurai here in Brazil, and this is some absolutely magnificent racing on board with Quan Todoroki. He's got some absolutely dinged up soft tyres, and you know what, just make a ticket for every time I say absolutely in this race. As in comes Elliot Deli comes in. Quan Todoroki is now in the undisputed race lead. Milsos Micah comes in with Lewis Olsen. I'm pretty sure what Quan's trying to do here is make sure that he can do the 1-stop, because he knows, he's probably aware that the 2-stop strategy will not work out too well. We saw in Long Beach, drivers who did the 2-stopper compared to drivers who did the 1-stopper didn't quite work out, because you just gain track position, and by the time the race is ended, there's no way that the additional grip that you get from new tyres is going to benefit you compared to the track position you would keep. Tommy setting a fastest 2nd sector of anyone, and as we're seeing with Carsten Thornburg, the likelihood is you can do 9 laps on the mediums, which means if you were to pit at the end of this lap, if you're on the softs, you can make it to the end. And Quan Todoroki pulls the trigger, comes into the pits. Does Thornburg follow him in? Well, there's a yellow dot that's come in, and it is Thornburg. Qui's also into the pits. Lil Buns leads the Grand Prix of Sao Paulo. Quan Todoroki gets his medium tyres onto the car. Where's he going to come out? He's going to be racing Deli on pit exit, on board with Elliot Deli, and he is ahead of Quan Todoroki. The overcut has worked out quite well, but it's worked out better for Linus Eriksson, because he's ahead of both of them. Linus Eriksson currently in 6th for the fastest lap, with the net race lead as well as that. He's gained quite a bit for his exploit so far. Now all he has to do is stick the landing, because he's only fighting Deli. Quan is too far back to make any sort of inroads. But at least with Kwon, he knows that he's making it to the end with the guys in front of him. They're not too sure if they will. Kwon Todoroki only has to do 8 laps on the mediums. And he will be probably good to the end of the race if that happens. Lil Bun's coming into the pit, so now we've got the hard tire gaggle coming through past the start-finish straight. Lap 10 of 17. Safsan leads from Francis Austin and Sebastian Messiaen, with Niven Colby currently in 4th. Here comes Francis Austin taking the lead away from the Indian driver. Francis Austin, after what can only be described as a harrowing race last time out, now leads here in Brazil, but he's yet to stop. That's the main question on everyone's lips, is when will the hard tire runners stop? Because in practice, the long runs which were performed on the hard tires did show, yes, they were a very slow compound, which is something we all are aware of. But the question is it viable to do it? As TJ Davis starting all around Milsos Micah, like a Premier League darts player or something like that. I don't know, I don't watch darts. Further up ahead, as TJ Davis now with a pretty good lined up move. Elliot Deli's found his way up into 5th. Can Ericsson get past him? He's past him. Will he go for Niven Colby as well to get up into 4th? You know he will! That's Linus Eriksson of Sweden up into 4th position, and he will get pushed to pass on Sebastian Messiaen to try and close in on the Pramet Power Team driver in front of him. Now, Kwon Todoroki. He's going to have to defend from Carson Thornburg, TJ Davis, and Milsos Micah. All 3 of these drivers on the tail of the Japanese man in front. And in fact, you can see Deli and Ericsson still battling it out for 4th position, even with Messiaen right in front. These guys are not holding up as Saf Sands found his way back up into the race lead, but the hard tires have truly gone off that tire performance cliff, and these guys have not built up the gap necessary to gain anything, even if there is a safety car or something like that. You've got lunges happening. Niven Colby drops down to 7th position with Kwon Todoroki up into 6th. Here comes the Chip Ganassi driver of Elliot Deli, and he's got Kwon Todoroki for company. Is that a puncture? That's a puncture for Elliot Deli. Drivers coming in. Milsos Micah with a 5-second time penalty. That's not a puncture. He just stopped on track for a second there. What happened? What happened to Elliot Deli? Just seemed like a momentary lack of speed. I don't know what's happened with him. Ericsson started. He's not even started. Saf Sands still out there. Kwon Todoroki currently fighting with Ericsson for the net race lead, looking for a way to try and go round the outside. While Thornburg has the faster tyres, Kwon Todoroki has the fresher tyres. And theoretically, Ericsson should have the track position, but evidently that is not the case. There goes Thornburg into 3rd position, and in fact TJ Davis trying to take 4th as well. Can he go up into 2nd? This will be the race lead. TJ Davis has gone from 21st on the grid to 1st on lap number 13, and that's on track. That is pace as Gurovic comes into the pits, and that's new soft tires going on for a 2nd stop. Milsos Micah in 7th position with that 5-second time penalty. He's the only man penalised so far. Might see some more penalties come in as Kwon Todoroki up into 3rd position ahead of Linus Eriksson. For the man who started this race on pole, he's yet to have a podium in his career. Just the one would be nice, but considering what he could have had today, he probably wants that win more than anything. On board with Kwon Todoroki. 33, that's his car number. We've got another driver in the 33 in Formula E, that being Ray Shen, who was originally slated to drive in the INDYCAR series, but just the seat opened up and he took the opportunity. Lap 14 of 17. With TJ Davis leading ahead of Carson Thornburg and Kwon Todoroki, the top 3. I've probably said this once before, but man, and can I not just get the thought out of my head that saying Todoroki is cringe because My Hero Academia is cringe. I can't get that out of my head. Thank you, TikTok. Don't even use TikTok. On board with Carson Thornburg, however, He probably doesn't need to know if the clock is ticking, like tick-tock, because he knows he's got to try and get past TJ Davis quickly if he's to get a second consecutive win. He's got to do it as well if he's to keep Quanto Doroki and the rest of the pack away from him. There are grey clouds forming over this part of Sao Paulo, Brazil, as is usual for this time of year. Rounding the final turn, do these guys decide to come into the pits? In come the top two! TJ Davis and Carson Thornburg both into the pits! If rain falls, this is a race-ending strategy. But Quanto Doroki now leads in Sao Paulo ahead of Qui, but look at how worn the Hyperdrive Man's tyres are. He is not making it to the end of the race, but he is making his way to the front of the pack, down the inside with push to pass, and he takes the lead here in Sao Paulo. That is Oqui up into the race lead. It's Melsos Micah going around the outside of Elliot Deli to take third position. Even with that time penalty, he's fighting as hard as ever. Olsen, Qui's teammate in 7th, still struggling with his tyres. Many drivers, of course, having their own tyre struggles as this race reaches its crescendo. But the only thing I know for a fact is Quanto Doroki will end this race with a tyre percentage in the 30s, which will be better than some other drivers I can mention. We're on to the penultimate lap here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, in the ERL INDYCAR Series, and it's Oqui who leads from pole sitter Quanto Doroki and Melsos Micah, the man with a 5-second time penalty. So it will be, as it stands, Elliot Deli inheriting that position. Just look at those medium tyres, though. It's not going to end too well if he does try and go to the end of this race. For many of these drivers, it's not going to end too well if they try and go to the end. Quan looking for a move into turn number 6. This fight could go to the very end of this race, or maybe just turn number 8. There goes the Japanese driver to try and take the first win for a Japanese driver in the ERL since Yuki Suo, however many seasons ago. Because, of course, it's only the 4th round in INDYCAR. He's the first Japanese INDYCAR driver in the ERL so far. And with 44% tyre wear, he will make it to the end of this race. It's not going to be comfortable, but he will do it. As we enter the final lap in Sao Paulo, Quanto Doroki leading from Qui and Elliot Deli. Melsos Micah has dropped down, but there goes Lil Buns to P3. The Ukrainian up into 3rd position. Qui looking for a move to try and get himself up into the race lead. Can he do it with push to pass? He's done it. He's currently ahead, and he's shut the door as well. Quanto Doroki is looking for every opportunity to try and take his first career victory. And after a season of hardships, Qui's got a penalty on the last lap. He's gifted the win to the Japanese driver who makes the move! Quanto Doroki in the final sector of the final lap! After Qui gets a penalty, he probably knows he's got a penalty. He probably doesn't care, because rounding the final turn, Quanto Doroki wins the Sao Paulo Grand Prix with the new closest finish in the entirety of the ERL. It's a tie with the season 19 Oslo Formula E race. As you can see the rest of the field coming across the line, TJ Davis, the fastest lap stolen by Carson Thornburg. Oh my goodness. What a finish for Quanto Doroki, a 57.099 for Max Sport Car. But for Quanto Doroki to win your first race in style like that. Qui gave it everything, but after that time penalty, it will drop him down to 6th position, only a 10th of a second ahead of his teammate. As Tommy comes across the line. This is the podium. Quanto Doroki is an ERL an ERL INDYCAR Series race winner. I'm going to record the Warsaw race after this, and that's why I confused it. Lil Buns coming home in 2nd for Newman Haas, the Ukrainian, having a absolutely storming season, and Elliot Deli coming across the line in 3rd position. Then it's Linus Eriksson, O'Quee, Lewis Olsen, Francis Austin, Salos Kynes, Milsos Micah, and teammates Nevin Colby, the top 10. Outside of it, you've got Inoki, Saf San, Sebastian Messian, TJ Davis, Hexel Mark, Mikion Gurovic, Carson Thornburg, David Camino, Ewa Puff, Ghosted, and Tommy. In the driver's standings, Nevin Colby still leads, but he's only a point ahead of Elliot Delly. Had he not finished 10th today, he would still be leading the championship on countback. Mikion Gurovic is tied with Lil Buns for 3rd. Then it's Carson Thornburg, Quan Todoroki, Linus Eriksson, Ewa Puff, O'Quee, Ghosted, tied with Salos Kynes, his own teammate. Then it's Inoki, TJ Davis, Lewis Olsen, Francis Austin. Then I say Francis Austin twice? No, I said Lewis Olsen and then Francis Austin. They've got the same syllable at the end. Then Saf San, Milsos Micah, Hexel Mark, Tommy, Max Bortkar, Sebastian Messian, and David Camino, who's yet to score any points. In the constructors' standings, heading into the next round of the championship, Chip Ganassi leads from Dragon Penske and Sims Motorsport. Then it's Newman Haas, Andretti, Apex Pinnacle, Hyperdrive Racing, McLaren, Power Motorsports, Revolution Racing, and Prema Power Team. We will see you guys next time then, when the ERL returns.